Hey, what's up, guys? I am so happy to be here. This is Nick Coates with Sawtooth Media Group. Anna, thank you so much for having me. It's just a real pleasure. And I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about building the unstoppable marketing team. It's something near and dear to my heart and something I know a lot of business owners I talk about struggle to build that marketing team that can just win for them over and over and over again. And with that said, I just love to get into it. So what are the big problems with building a marketing team? Well, or building any team, frankly, in this day and age. I cannot tell you how many business owners I talk to that have the problem of building a team, much less a marketing team in a time when digital marketing is at the highest demand it's ever been at. So how do you build a digital marketing team when everybody out there wants and needs a digital marketing team? Finding talented people. I hear these complaints all the time from business owners. Probably some of these sound familiar to you guys, right? I don't know who I should hire first. I don't know who to hire next. To me, those are clarity problems. And I'm going to show you today how to get clarity on those two things and specifically how to tackle those two problems. Leadership problems. I can't find good people. I just lost one of my best people. These are problems that, you are facing, frankly, because of a leadership issue in your organization. So whether that's you or other leadership in your organization, those are problems that can be solved by your leadership team. And then lastly, I can't afford to hire the right person. That, typically speaking, is a money problem, but there's three types of money problems, and I'm going to show you how to identify which one of those three is holding you back from getting the right person that you can afford in your business. So with that said, I'm sure you're shaking your head, yep, here, and we're going to get right into it. So why should you listen to me? First of all, I chose the cheesiest picture I could find of myself in a skydiving outfit. Looking up like, superhero a little bit, just to show you guys I am a real guy, I do real things, I have fun, and this is not just all about work, it's about play too. But as I mentioned, I am the CEO and co-founder of Sawtooth Media Group. We're one of the fastest growing digital agencies in the U.S. In the last year and a half, roughly, we went from 0 people on our team to now over 40 people on our team. So when you scale a business that fast and that many people, quite frankly, in one of the times of highest demand of digital marketing talent the world has ever seen, a lot of people ask me, how did I do this? How did I do that? How did I accomplish it? First of all, it wasn't alone. I have an incredible team, leadership team, other co-founders that have helped me pull that off. I'm not the guy that's out there doing it by myself, but I am the guy that represents the company. So I do get to talk to you about it today. We've done over $500 million in sales. I've built and exited a couple companies. I just love to share with you some of my experience along the way, but it hasn't all been all roses. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. Guys, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I didn't realize that people are everything. It took me a long time to really understand that. And boy, it cost me a lot, I think. I don't regret it because it was all part of the journey and all part of the learning experiences, as everything is on this page here. No regrets, but I definitely have the benefit of hindsight. And I had a growth over impact mindset. Growth over impact mindset. What does that mean? That means that I, really was focused on growth. I was focused on hitting revenue goals, top line revenue goals, personal revenue goals. I was a hard charger. I came from a sales background, sales and marketing background. And I just really, when I get that goal, I want to go after it almost at all costs, or used to be that way. And I wasn't really focused on the impact that I was having along the way. And that was a shift for me that made a big difference. I gave little to no thought to culture. Guys, culture is everything. And it's cliche. People talk about culture. Today, I'm actually going to dive into what culture you need to have in your organization and how to go about building it in a way that's sustainable, that will allow you to attract and retain top talent. But culture has been a critical part of my success this go around. I was a mediocre leader. Okay. This it's kind of hard for me to say because I always thought I was such a great leader. I was always, captain of my sports teams, and I was, usually promoted to leadership in any organization I was in relatively quickly. So I always touted myself as a great leader, but I was really a great performer that, as a result of being a great performer, was promoted into leadership opportunities, but that didn't make me a great leader. And I've really learned some things in the last couple of years that have helped me to really turn a corner and start building something really special that I'm excited about this go around. I didn't deeply care about the customer employee experience. I didn't understand the importance of that, especially digital marketing. Digital marketing, it's easy to start to think about, customers and people as data because it's all digitized. And, I just wasn't focused on that. And it really has made a huge difference. I didn't reinvest in my business every single month. So I was, guilty of kind of starving my business of the capital that it really needed to thrive. I bootstrapped everything, built everything without debt. So the minute the companies had a chance to make some money, like I was trying to put every bit of money in my pocket that I could. And that also was a mistake. And I'll share with you how to do that a little differently too. And I didn't understand that top performers were always a profit center and not a cost center in my business. Maybe some of these things sound familiar to you guys, maybe some of them, maybe all of them. But regardless, we're going to talk about all this today and how you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made. And I think you're going to really have some aha moments. I'm excited for you. So how do you build the unstoppable marketing team, right? We start with a simple org chart clarity exercise. And I don't care what size your business is. I don't care what size your business is. This exercise is absolutely invaluable. I actually learned this from my father. He was a corporate turnaround guy, businesses anywhere from, 7 figures to even 9 figures. He did a $1.5 billion turnaround job. And he always started with this org chart clarity, and he taught me to do it. And it's been very valuable for me. And our team has used this several checkpoints along the way of our growth. And it's a crucial tool. And I'm going to teach it to you guys here in the next 10 minutes. It's really easy to learn and really easy to implement. And boy, is it illuminate so many cool things for you. So the first thing when you're thinking about building a digital marketing team is you have to identify the functions of a digital marketing team, right? So these are the core essential functions that every marketing team needs in order to have success. So you need traffic, right? In order to get sales, you need traffic, so that you need media buying, or you need affiliate traffic, email traffic. It doesn't matter, but you need traffic to your website, right? Or to your funnels or whatever it is that you're running. You need creative production. So you need ability to create scroll stopping creative that gets people's attention, whether that's an email, whether that's in ads, and you need the ability to create that creative. Again, whether you're running it, an agency's running it, an affiliate's running it doesn't matter. That is an essential function of a digital marketing team. Copywriting, perhaps one of the biggest needle movers there is, and one of the least invested in areas that I see, especially traditional companies like e-com businesses and whatnot. They don't make a lot of investment in copywriting, and boy, does it move the needle. Customer experience. So thinking about that customer journey. So this is like post-sale customer experience, just to clarify. And then funnels and website, which would be the front-end customer experience essentially, but that's your acquisition. That's where people come into your business on the front end, and then also to return to shop in your business if you're running a traditional e-com store, something along those lines. So these are the 5 critical areas that you need to focus on to build a digital marketing team. So we're going to just build this in sections, right? So using the same framework that I just talked about, this is going to identify all of the hats that you could possibly wear, or anybody in your organization could wear for that matter. So in the center, you have the VP of marketing. Now, again, I don't want you to think about this like, oh, I'm too small for this, or maybe I'm too big for this. It doesn't matter. I want you to focus on these critical functions, because I'll show you on the next slide here in a second how it applies directly to you no matter what size your business is. So you have a VP of marketing. That's the person, the brain running the marketing team, right? The leader of that team. You're going to need a project manager or marketing operations person to implement and manage all of the initiatives that are strategic that VP of marketing or perhaps CEO has lined out for that division to go execute on. You're going to need in that creative production division, you need a director of creative production, somebody to run the creative production division, if you will, right? To manage that. Now, again, you could wear multiple hats on this chart. I'm going to get into that in a second, but that is a critical function. Underneath that, we would have things like video editor, graphic designer. And these are just the basics. These are the basics that you need to produce creative for a digital customer journey. Copywriting. You have a copy chief and you have a copywriter, generally speaking. Now, again, you can outsource these things. You might be wearing a couple of these hats yourself. But these are critical functions, both of them. You need a copywriter, and you need somebody for that copywriter to make sure that they're refining their ideas and they're getting coached up by somebody that is more senior, more experienced, and can really challenge them to step outside of the box. The director of customer experience, this is the back end, right? So you have the list manager, the customer service, if you have a business that requires customer service. These are the things that would fall underneath that customer experience director. Their job, they're thinking all the time about what do we do, right? What do we do after the customer? How is the experience for our customers post-purchase? They're also, by the way, in charge of revenue produced from that asset on the back end too. So that's a critical function of a director of customer experience. Director of funnels and websites. I call them both because some businesses are very funnel centric and some businesses in the digital space are very website centric. So your e-com stores, service providers, B2B, things like this, they're focused on the term website. People in the direct response space are more focused on the term funnels, but it doesn't matter. This is interchangeable for any of those types of businesses. You are going to need a funnel director. You're going to need a website designer, and you are going to need a website developer. Those are kind of the basics that you have to have a website that's live, that's being hopefully optimized and worked on, but at least to get it into the ecosystem, right? A director of media buying and traffic. So you need somebody that is going to be in charge of acquisition for your company, digital acquisition. Again, I said this could be, cold media, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Pinterest, TikTok. Doesn't matter. It could be affiliates. It could be email drops. It could be all sorts of different ways that you're getting traffic to your business. But these are the basic fundamental elements that are needed to run a digital marketing organization. The next part's my favorite part. So now I want you to take that framework and I want you to add your names to that framework. So I've given some examples here. These are people on my team and I gave them funny names. But I want you guys to think about how you show up on this chart, right? And it's okay, and it probably will be the case that you'll have your name in a couple spots, especially if you're earlier on in your journey. If you're bigger and more mature, again, maybe you're still actually on this chart twice. That could be the case. So I want you to place the names on the chart. And then now what that will do is illuminate to you where you are spending time in the business as the owner, CEO, leader of the business. It could be okay that you're spending time in these areas and that you really enjoy it. But as an example, I put myself on this chart at VP of marketing, copy chief, and copywriter. Because early on in my journey, those were multiple hats that I wore. Well, you're going to want to take yourself out of those positions if you want to be able to elevate into focusing on growing on the business rather than working in the business. So remember in the beginning, I said there's two critical questions that we're going to answer first, which was, I don't know who I should hire first, and I don't know who to hire next. And that little exercise that I just ran you guys through in 5 minutes will do a beautiful job of illuminating exactly who you should hire first and or who you should hire next, depending on where you're at in your journey, right? Those are difficult questions depending on if you're hiring your first person or hiring not your first person, basically. So yeah, I mean, that's it. It's that simple, and that works every time. We represent a little over 40 brands that we either advertise for or do funnel optimization for or do creative production for. Those are the three areas that we help as an agency. And I can't tell you how many times I get this question, especially as we're scaling people up. When you pour good marketing on a good product or service, it's going to grow. And that growth illuminates pains in the business. It illuminates structural issues. It illuminates that you need to hire more people. And so I end up being a de facto business consultant to a lot of our brands here at Sawtooth Media. So I get the opportunity, of solving a lot of problems every day. It's like drinking from the fire hose of solving businesses, sales, marketing, and even operational problems, quite frankly, because we break people's supply chains, by pouring extra volume on. So we're having to really partner with our businesses to achieve that scale. And I can tell you guys that this org chart exercise works for them. It's worked for me. It's worked for countless others. It's a really proven model. So I would encourage you to do it. It's kind of fun. Next, let's tackle the problems of I can't find good people and I just lost one of my best people. Essentially, those two problems are attracting and retaining top talent. That's what those problems are. I think that is perhaps a CEO or a leader's greatest challenge in a business is attracting and retaining top talent. How many of you listening right now hear all the time from other business owners, gosh, I just can't find good people. Gosh, I wish I could, I just can't find anybody. I don't know where to go to hire them, or I've tried to hire so many people, I can't afford them. There's all these different problems, but man, attracting and retaining top talent. And then, gosh, you work really hard to get that talented person. You train them up and then they leave, go to somebody else or go do their own thing. Maybe now that they've got this skill, they want to go start their own business. It's really tough. And I've got some ways that I've learned to help with that. So culture, I shared with you in the beginning, culture is everything. I mean, it's like people are everything. Culture is everything. Like it's such an critical thing, but there's a lot of confusion about what culture is. We all think we know what culture is. So I just looked up, I just Googled culture, right? And Indeed defines culture this way. Work culture is a collection of attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that make up the regular atmosphere in a work environment. Healthy workplace cultures align employee behaviors and company policies with the overall goals of the company, while also considering the well-being of individuals. Work culture determines how well a person fits into their environment at a new job and their ability to build professional relationships with colleagues. Your attitude, work-life balance, growth opportunities, and job satisfaction all depend on the culture of your workplace. I don't disagree with that definition of culture at all. However, I find it really hard when I think about that in the shoes of somebody that's trying to build an amazing culture of okay, well, how do I do that? What are the inputs that create culture? It's kind of confusing. And so I've come up with my formula for a great work culture that I would love to share with you guys. These are the critical 8 components of an amazing culture. And these are meant to be thought-provoking, bigger ideas for you and your company. I want you to think about each one of these categories independently and really evaluate them and be honest with yourself. Be honest, are you knocking all 8 of these out of the park? I'm constantly working on all 8 of them. I'm not saying I'm knocking them out of the park all the time, but I can tell you my experience has been, if any one of these 8 is missing, and that's why I put 8 critical ones in there. There's more than this, but these are the 8 where if one of these 8 is missing, if you take away one of these, one of these things isn't good. And I'll give you an example here in a second, where you're going to watch your culture collapse before your eyes. And your culture is one of your most powerful recruiting, attracting, and retaining top talent pieces in your business. This is it, right? This is like at the foundation of it. So I'll give you an example. You could have really great everything on this chart except for people. You're not going to have a great culture. You could have a really great everything on this chart except for management. I've seen a singular manager absolutely tank a culture in a company that I've worked at in the past. I've seen a bad manager cause a absolute cascading effect of losing top talent in an organization, which the opportunity cost of losing top talent is exponential, guys. It's one of your greatest opportunity costs in your business that you'll ever deal with, is losing really talented people. Communication, simple thing. But if you don't have great communication and everything else on this chart you nailed, you won't have a great work culture. Accountability top to bottom. What does that mean? That means that even you as the owner have accountability for your actions. If you don't hold everybody accountable, it will become, especially as you grow and have a larger organization, if there is a lack of accountability amongst anybody, maybe it's like maybe there was some nepotism. It's like somebody's brother or sister or father or mother company. Maybe it's employee number 2 or 3 that like gets special treatment and isn't held to the same standards. These are little things that chip away at your culture because other people see it. They see that not everybody is being held accountable at the same level, and it causes dissension in the ranks. It's not good. It's really, you guys have heard, the term a bad apple can spoil the bunch. Well, what about the term that nothing will ruin a good employee faster than watching you tolerate a bad one? That I have seen to be true, and I'm sure you have, whether it as an employee or as a, or as a leader, right? I'm sure you've dealt with this. I'm not going to get into every single one of these, but that is just some examples of how every single one of these is a critical component of building a really phenomenal work culture. And it took me a long time to distill this down, you guys. So please take note of it, because it's not just easy to go find this information on how to build a great work culture. That is not an easy thing to do at all. So with that said, let's jump into the next one. Once you get this right, though, here's the good news. Once you get work culture right, you can build a dream team. You can build a team that will blow your mind what they are capable of. I am talking a world-class marketing team, a world-class team of anything, operators, marketers, all of it, right? Our business that's over 40 people now. I mean, this was a picture we took early on in our journey that I just grabbed for this slide deck. But, our culture is what helped us to accomplish this. And without it, you won't accomplish it, because I got a secret for you guys. I don't deal with any of those problems on that first part of the chart that I mentioned. All of those questions that I outlined, I don't have a problem acquiring great top talent. I don't have a problem keeping top talent. When I need somebody to work for us, because we've created a culture that is is incredible to work for us. We have lined up recommendations. Guess what, guys? Really great, talented people are friends and families with family members of really great and talented people. So if they love working in your company, they are going to sing it from the rooftops. And we have the luxury, if you're watching this right now, you have the ability to build a remote workforce, which is really puts you in the most desirable employment category there is. Think about bankers. Think about teachers. These are two categories. Actually, some of the people that you're looking at in these tiles, I've hired 4 people from a banking background. I've hired a couple people from a teaching background. These are areas where they're highly educated, most of the time graduate degrees, and they work in companies where there is not a great culture. They're not happy working there. They might like their job as an individual contributor, but generally speaking, leadership is lackluster, bureaucracy, politics, COVID now, all sorts of things, right? People are dealing with all sorts of problems in traditional businesses that when they come to a digital business that's run right by a dynamic leader and leadership team, it's an irresistible opportunity. And it sometimes, not always, but sometimes isn't about the money. Sometimes money is a part of the equation, but I'm telling you, this is more a part of the equation than money is for most people. So now we've run over ways to handle how do I know who I should hire first? Next, I can't find good people. I just lost one of my best people. The 2 methods I just gave you solve all of those questions if executed properly. So last, but certainly not least, I can't afford the right person. And I love this topic because it comes up a lot. People they want so much money and they're so expensive, and all of these reasons why they can't get the right person. And I really have broken it down into 3 categories. Most likely, if that is your problem, or you think that is your problem, it's one of these 3 things. Either 1, you have a sales money problem. So you're not selling enough stuff, which the beautiful thing, if that's where you identify that your problem is you will also now identify your next most important hire as somebody to help you solve your sales and or marketing problem. If you're not making enough money, sales cures all, guys. If you're making tons of money, you don't have the problem hiring whoever it is that you want to hire. You just reinvest it all back into your business and hire that amazing top talent. Next one's an operational money problem. It could be that you have great sales, but you don't have the budget freed up to go hire that 6-figure person in your business, if that's, who you think is like your next hire. This can also include, and often does, bloated owner payouts. I mean, when I help pour through somebody's business to, break it loose, to the next level, really identifying what we need to do to free up capital to get them where they need to be. They have some challenges with taking too much money out of the business. I was that guy. I took too much money out of the business. So speaking from experience, this is a problem. Especially when you're bootstrapping a company. I've bootstrapped every company I've ever built, ever. I've never taken on any debt. But when you do that, you kind of starve yourself for so long that when you start to make money, your tendency is to start to try to fill the piggy bank back up again. One of my tricks to success is keeping my living standards relatively low. You see these guys out, buying Lambos and crazy mansions and multiple houses and things like this. And because, a really successfully ran digital marketing business can certainly afford those things if you're not reinvesting back into the business. But I have a trick on this that I used, and I still use it to this day, that is extremely powerful, and I'll share it with you right now. So rather than every month, I want to challenge you guys to cap your profit. For me, I run a service-based business, a really healthy margin is 20%. True EBITDA, true profit margin is 20%. Meaning if I make $1 million, I should clear as an owner, not as an individual contributor and CEO in the company, but as an owner, I should clear about $200,000 for that $1 million in revenue. That's for, in my industry, for a service-based business, right? And everybody watching this, you might have different ones. Just Google, standards for your industry. You'll see all sorts of articles and you kind of pick a number that's fair. So what I did is I decided early on I would cap my profits at that number. So every month when I, exceed that margin in the business, I earmark the delta for reinvestment back into the company. And having that discipline has a large impact on the growth that I've experienced over the last year, because I'm reinvesting that back in the business. If I'm making an additional 10 grand a month in recurring service revenue, well, now I can go hire a 10 grand a month, person in the business, right? It up and over that 20% margin, right? So if that was that 10K was the delta, now I can go reinvest that 10K, which is super cool. So I kind of keep my profit percentage capped for myself, and I reinvest everything else back into the business. And that's a great sort of guiding compass for me, because, every level as an entrepreneur you're growing a company to is a level you have never grown a company to before. So having some sort of guiding metric that's like, how much money should I have being reinvested? Now, this reinvestment back into the business, a couple categories I reinvested in. For me and my type of business, it's technology, it's people, both new people, new hires, and raises. That's it. I mean, guys, I'm going to talk about something right now. It might not be popular, but we've experienced hyperinflation this year. Some estimate as much as 30%, which means a person that makes 100 grand a year can afford 30% less things in the real world this year than they did last year. So for companies out there thinking about giving 2-3%, raises at the end of the year to keep up with inflation, you aren't scratching the surface of that. You're not giving that person working for you the opportunity to live the same quality of life and afford the same types of things in their life if you're not helping make up that difference. Now, it's awful hard to go 30% in 1 year unless you're raising your prices by 30%, and some of your markets won't allow you to do that, and I respect that. But I'm just challenging you to try to make up the difference as fast as you can. And don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to communicate it. Remember, one of those bubbles about culture was communication. Radical transparency and communication really helps build an amazing culture. The last one is one not a lot of people talk about, but it's a money mindset problem. I had a mentor for early on tell me that investing in human capital is one of the highest yielding and most profitable asset classes available to invest in. And it took me a while to think about that. I was like, what? But what he meant was, he went on to explain that, if you hire a high performer, an A player in your company, think about the last time that you hired an A player, or you yourself were an A player, and you didn't pay for yourself multiple times over in the company. Guys, talented people are a profit center. Remember I shared with you in the beginning, that was a mindset block that I had. I had this mindset block. If I had extra money, I didn't want to go hire a really expensive person, because I was like, gosh, I can do that myself, or I'll train somebody up to do that I can get to do it for way cheaper. It was the wrong thinking. It is such a bigger lever to hire somebody that's really amazing at what they do, pay them really well for it, and watch them pay for themselves time and time again. This is a really big one to wrap your head around. If you went down to the bank and they had an investment opportunity at your local bank, and they said, I'll tell you what, guys, you give me 10 grand a month for 3 months, and I guarantee you in month 4, it will break even, start to make a return on its investment. And by month 6, we'll be 4Xing the return. Would you? And it's interest free. Would you do it? Damn straight you would do it, right? So that's what I mean by investing in human capital. You can go and hire somebody for 10 grand a month, Hopefully you're doing a great job screening and hiring that right person and getting that A in there. But let's say you make a mistake. Worst case scenario, you make a mistake. You can let them go within 90 days, hire fast, fire fast. And, in this case, hopefully a 6-figure range, you're actually hiring slow and firing fast. But when you're a startup, for those of you that are in startup phase, I do prefer hire fast, fire fast. But this is a critical area that a lot of folks really struggle with. A lot of folks struggle with wrapping their head around this. So our mission at Sawtooth is to change the lives of those that we work with. Remember, one of the bubbles was mission, vision, values I shared with you guys earlier. Whether it be our employees, our clients, other business owners we act with, you listening right now today, we're on a mission to provide real impact in the people's lives that we work with. If you lack a mission, this is a pretty good usable mission for a lot of you out there if you're having a hard time coming up with a mission. Values, vision, I could get into that. That could be a whole nother separate presentation, but I just wanted to share with you an example of a mission that has really helped unite our company. So that's it, guys. I think that, I've shared a lot today. There's a lot of deeper topics here, but that in a nutshell is what I believe that it takes to build a really unstoppable marketing team. And that last tip that I wanted to share with you is that it's something called our Friday call. Really what people crave and connect, especially in a digital work environment, is connection. It's camaraderie. It's all these things that we had before, the world was a lot of remote work. So I created a Friday call. It's not unique. Other companies do it too. Everybody's on the call. It's a Zoom call. Every single person in the organization's on the call. And we take the time. I lead the call and I go one by one. And we take a turn each saying, what was our biggest win of the week? What was our biggest challenge of the week? And a shout out for somebody or a few people on the team that have gone above and beyond for you that you want to recognize. So it fosters an attitude of gratitude. It's helping others to know what struggles people are having. And here's the kicker. There's no rules about whether or not it's personal or professional. So it could be that a mom is, one of our moms is struggling because her kid is homesick from school and she's trying to manage work and being a mom. It could be that, especially in the world that we've lived in, somebody's passed away in their life. It could be heavy stuff with the challenges. But what it does is it gives you an opportunity as a leader to get a pulse on the company, to be there and show up for your people in a way that's meaningful for them right now in the present part of their life. Gives you a chance to, see your other people on your team jump in and be there for their teammates. It fosters a team atmosphere that is absolutely transformational. That's it, guys. Those are the biggest nuggets that I can share in the most condensed amount of time to help you. I think I'm over time anyways here, but I really appreciate the time to talk today, and hope you got some value out of it. If any of you have any questions, I'm pretty available and I'm happy to help. Here's my contact information. If you're trying to implement any of the things you learned today in your company and you just want some guidance, no strings attached, hit me up. I'm happy to help you out in your journey. Hope everybody has a great day. Thank you so much.